Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda, and this channel, the Ignition Time channel, is about the country, the economy, as well as our money. Please click like, please click subscribe, please enable notifications, and please share this video with friends and family. In this video, I'll expose the gimmicks in the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure plan. Yes, folks, I said gimmicks. I'm going to explore the imaginary ways that the government is trying to pay for infrastructure, this bipartisan deal, which is full of phantom revenue gimmicks. Let's start with this headline on your screen from the Wall Street Journal: the infrastructure pay-fors that aren't. The bipartisan deal is full of phantom revenue gimmicks. Yes, folks, the entire thing is full of ways to pay for $1 trillion worth of spending that simply don't make any sense. Imagine trying to pay for something with a plan that makes absolutely no sense. That is exactly what our government is doing. Let's just jump right in. And by the way, we'll provide you with a link to this article in the description section below. So make sure you check out the Wall Street Journal article. So the conservative Democrat from West Virginia and his Senate friends are stressing that the infrastructure deal is, I quote, fully paid for. They said no new deficit spending. And their bill relies to a great degree on savings and revenue that is already baked into the fiscal year, or something that is unlikely to happen, according to the Wall Street Journal. Now, the Wall Street Journal reports that deficit financing is better than increasing taxes, and Republicans were able to eliminate or do away with any proposed tax increases that the Democrats came up with. They also decided not to help President Biden because the president wanted to provide $40 billion in funding to the IRS in order to be able to increase collections. Now, the Democrats said that that would raise hundreds of billions of dollars, but the Republicans didn't allow that. So, where exactly is this money supposedly going to come from? Okay. 10 years of savings from various programs are apparently going to try to offset 5 years of spending, according to the proposed way to pay for this. Think about this. Let's say you wanted to buy something. Let's say you wanted to buy a car, and you propose to pay for the next 5 years of car payments through the next 10 years of savings, as opposed to money that you have now or money that you have coming in. That is exactly what the government is trying to do. So what's going to happen is the government is going to try extending by a decade a guarantee fee that government-sponsored enterprises Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac charge on mortgages that they back. So what happened was that the government imposed this 10 basis point fee in 2011 to cover the cost of the government protection for Fannie and Freddie. Extending the fee through 2032 is expected to raise $21 billion, but the actual costs are far greater if these housing giants start to lose money after the Biden administration makes some changes to the underwriting standards. I'm now going to quote from the Wall Street Journal article. Then there's a magical Medicare accounting. The bill would extend Medicare provider payment cuts by a year through 2031, just inside the 10-year budget window. Senators are counting that as saving $9 billion, but Congress is almost certain to override this provision once hospitals squawk, as they surely will. In other words, the government is going to try and cut spending on Medicare. In other words, they're going to try and cut their own costs. But when all the hospitals, when all the powerful physician groups are going to say, no, you still have to pay us money, the government is likely to cave. Also, and I'm going to quote from the Wall Street Journal article, senators are also counting savings from suspending a Trump Medicare anti-kickback rule through 2025. The rule bans most rebates that drug makers pay to Medicare Part D pharmaceutical benefit managers to get on plan formularies, and thus would have the effect of increasing seniors' premiums and government spending. So this is also something that the government is trying to do. Now, if you thought that was all of it, nope. The unemployment benefits also play a role here. Folks, there's been a lot of controversy about the unemployment benefits, and we've covered this on our channel. But the bill also claims that $53 billion from lower spending on unemployment benefits would essentially be applied towards the infrastructure program. Now, unemployment has fallen pretty fast since the Congressional Budget Office started making projections back in March, but 26 mostly Republican states are cutting the $300 federal unemployment benefits early. Now, the savings will come from money that would never have been spent thanks to, and by the way, this is a quote from the Wall Street Journal, thanks to better policies by conservative states. Now, there's more. Senators had originally proposed to pay for some of the deal with $205 billion from repurposed COVID relief funds. But Democrats refused to reallocate any of the hundreds of billions of dollars of the unspent money for states and schools in their spending bills. Senators could only agree to repurpose $43 billion, mostly from small business programs with leftover funds. So, folks, there's a lot of really imaginary math that is actually taking place. And the bill, and again, this is a quote from the article, the bill includes some other notional payoffs for selling oil in the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, projecting future broadband spectrum sales. And by the way, a lot of these sales have already happened. And requiring manufacturers of single-dose pill containers to provide Medicare refunds for discarded drugs. The Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, is obliged to score many of these as savings under the current budget rules, and much of it is scored with the federal takeover of student loans as a moneymaker to finance Obamacare in 2010. Now, this is what the Wall Street Journal says. Our job is to explain the fiscal reality. So, Senator Joe Manchin, the conservative Democrat from West Virginia, said, I quote, "Our infrastructure bill is all paid for." Most Americans now really want Congress to come up with an infrastructure bill, but we have to do this in a responsible way, in a balanced way, and we need to do this in a way that actually makes sense, not just a kumbaya moment between the Republicans and the Democrats. And this is the final quote from the Wall Street Journal. But in this bill, as usual in Washington, politicians will spend now and taxpayers will pay later. Because, folks, all of this money is ultimately your money and my money, the money that we work hard to generate, the money that you and I pay taxes on. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of all these imaginary ways to pay for the infrastructure package, these phantom gimmicks, if you will, to pay for infrastructure. And in the end, the money will come from you and from me, and the politicians will spend now, and you and I and our children will pay later. At some point, the chicken is going to come home to roost. And that is exactly what is going on here. We must face reality. And I encourage you to check out this article from the Wall Street Journal. I'll provide you with a link in the description section below. Please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. Please share this video with friends and family. That would be greatly appreciated. Follow us on Twitter. This right here is my Twitter feed. You'll be able to keep up with all the latest news stories on Twitter. My Twitter handle is ignition_time. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.